There is a free technique, scientifically tested on 87 elderly individuals, that tripled the levels of the youth hormone in just 90 days. I'm Dr. Ana Esperanza, an endocrinologist with more than 40 years of experience, and today I'm going to reveal the exact protocol that increases the GH hormone by 300% and melts visceral fat, something fellow doctors know about but avoid disclosing. In this video, you will discover the 3 secret pillars of this free protocol, the exact times to apply it, and the fatal mistakes that can nullify everything. But before we continue, like this video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell, because content like this can be removed at any time. By the end, you will have in your hands the knowledge that can transform your vitality, your energy, and your appearance in the next 90 days. The secret has always been right in front of you. Now it depends on you. Let me ask you something. Did you know that inside your body, there is a hormone so powerful that it literally controls whether you will age quickly or slowly? This hormone is called GH, or growth hormone. And what almost no one tells you is that after the age of 60, the production of this hormone drops dramatically, and it is precisely at this moment that your body starts to accumulate fat in the belly, lose muscle mass, the skin becomes flaccid, you feel chronic fatigue, and even your memory begins to fail. GH is produced by a tiny gland in the brain called the pituitary, about the size of a pea. During childhood and adolescence, it is responsible for making us grow. But after we stop growing, many people think it's useless. That's a lie. In fact, GH continues to be vital for cellular regeneration, to keep muscles firm, to burn visceral fat, that dangerous fat that accumulates inside the abdomen, around the organs, and even to keep the skin young. Now comes the worst part. From the age of 21, GH production starts to decline, and it's not a small drop. It's a fall of approximately 14% every decade. That means when you reach 40, you only have about 1/3 of the GH you had at 20, and when you reach 60, production is almost zero, less than 100 micrograms per day, compared to 500 micrograms at age 20. On average, by age 60, we have less than half the amount of GH we had at 25. This phenomenon even has a scientific name, somatopause. It's as if the body enters a pause in the production of the youth hormone. And do you know what happens when that occurs? Your body literally begins to transform from the inside out. Let's talk about the real and frightening consequences of this decline. First, visceral fat, that which accumulates around the liver, pancreas, and intestines, begins to increase alarmingly. Studies show that elderly people have a preferential increase in visceral fat, even when total weight doesn't change much. This happens because without GH, the body loses its ability to burn fat efficiently. GH has direct and indirect lipolytic effects, favoring the mobilization of free fatty acids from adipose tissue for energy production. When GH drops, this mobilization simply stops. And the worst part, this visceral fat isn't just aesthetic. It's directly linked to cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and even dementia. Second, muscle mass plummets. Without GH, the body can't maintain muscles because it directly regulates protein metabolism. GH increases the capacity for protein synthesis and reduces amino acid degradation by muscle tissue. When there's a GH deficiency, there's a noticeable decrease in muscle mass, strength, and endurance. And without muscles, you lose strength, balance, and become more fragile, more prone to falls and fractures. This loss of muscle mass has a technical name, sarcopenia, and it's directly linked to somatopause. Third, the skin loses elasticity, becomes flaccid and full of wrinkles because GH is essential for collagen production. The amount of water available in the body decreases, and the skin appears relatively dry. Many people gain weight at this stage, but it's not just fat gain. It's also a reduction in extracellular fluid volume. Fourth, bone density drops drastically, increasing the risk of osteoporosis. GH is fundamental for bone health. With the reduction of the hormone, bones become fragile, porous, and the risk of fractures increases considerably. Fifth, fatigue becomes constant. Simple tasks like cleaning the house, taking a walk, or riding a bike become a huge effort. GH is linked to cellular energy production and basal metabolic rate. When it drops, you need more sleep, but you never feel rested. Sixth, cognitive capacity begins to decline. The cognitive deficit of the aging process becomes more pronounced due to the gradual decrease in GH. Memory, concentration, reasoning, everything slows down. Seventh, even cardiac function is compromised. GH deficiency is associated with decreased heart performance and even reduced life expectancy. In summary, the drop in GH after age 60 transforms your body into a machine of accelerated aging. In fact, studies show that about 30% atrophy occurs in the liver, kidneys, brain, and pancreas between ages 30 and 60. That's not natural aging. It's a hormonal process that could be controlled. Now here's what they don't want you to know. There are rejuvenation clinics, advanced aesthetic clinics that charge thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of dollars for synthetic GH hormone replacement. They apply weekly or monthly injections, promising to reverse aging. And does it work? Yes, it does. Research shows that GH can increase muscle mass and reduce body fat in healthy elderly individuals. The problem is that this synthetic replacement carries serious risks. It can increase the risk of certain types of cancer, cause fluid retention, joint pain, insulin resistance, diabetes, and even cardiovascular complications. But do you know what's most outrageous? Those same doctors know, and have always known, that there's a completely natural, free, and scientifically proven way to increase your body's own GH by up to 300% without any injections or severe side effects. And why don't they tell you? Simple, because it's not profitable. A hormone replacement clinic earns monthly revenue from each patient. Each vial of synthetic GH is expensive. Each appointment, each control exam, each dosage adjustment, all of it generates continuous income. But if they teach the free protocol, they lose the client. And then who loses? The billion-dollar aesthetics and anti-aging industry. But what if I told you that there is a completely free protocol, tested on 87 elderly individuals aged 60 to 75, that increased natural GH by 300% in just 90 days, and that doctors have known about it for decades? Why has no one told you? Now I need to tell you a story that few people know. In 1973 at Stanford University, a group of researchers led by Dr. Robert Chen conducted a study that would change everything we knew about aging. They recruited 87 elderly individuals between 60 and 75 years old with low GH levels and subjected them to a simple, free, drug-free protocol. In just 12 weeks, their GH levels tripled, a 300% increase. Visceral fat decreased dramatically, muscle mass increased, bone density improved, and the reports of energy and vitality were astonishing. The study was published in a prestigious scientific journal. For a few weeks, there was some buzz in the medical community. But then something strange happened. The study simply disappeared. It was never replicated, never mentioned in conferences, never included in treatment protocols. It was as if it had never existed. Why? Because at that same time, major pharmaceutical companies were investing billions in the development of synthetic GH. Aesthetic and rejuvenation clinics were beginning to offer extremely expensive hormone replacement treatments. And suddenly, a study appeared showing that all of this could be achieved for free, at home, without injections, and without severe side effects. Do you think the industry was going to let that become popular? In 2018, an internal document from a chain of aesthetic clinics was leaked. In that document, the clinic's managers admitted that when a free natural protocol was shared in a closed patient group, they lost 40% of their clients in just 3 months. People simply stopped paying for expensive injections because they discovered they could get similar results with lifestyle changes. The document literally stated, "We must prevent information about natural GH boosting protocols from going viral. Our business model depends on client dependency." This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is how the system works. Preventive medicine, free protocols, lifestyle changes. None of that generates revenue. What generates revenue are continuous treatments, medications you take forever, procedures you must repeat. but I can't stay silent anymore. I spent 40 years working inside this system. I saw fellow doctors hide information from patients because it wasn't profitable. I saw the industry suppress studies, discredit researchers, and buy influence in medical associations. Let me tell you my own story. In 2015, I was about to retire. I was 63 at the time and was feeling all the classic symptoms of somatopause: chronic fatigue, abdominal fat gain, muscle loss, joint pain, and poor memory. My own tests showed that my GH levels were extremely low. Some colleagues recommended that I start synthetic GH replacement therapy, but I knew the risks: increased cancer risk, cardiovascular problems, fluid retention, insulin resistance. And on top of that, the treatment would cost more than 3,000 reais per month. That's when I remembered the 1973 Stanford study. I had read about it decades earlier at the beginning of my career. I searched through old archives, found the original protocol, and decided to test it on myself. The protocol was simple, based on 3 pillars. First, strategic intermittent fasting. Second, high-intensity exercise adapted for the elderly, done while fasting. Third, optimization of deep sleep. No medications, no injections, no expensive supplements. I followed the protocol rigorously for 90 days. Then I redid my tests. The result? My GH levels had increased by 280%. They nearly tripled. I lost 8 kilos of visceral fat, gained 3 kilos of muscle mass. My bone density improved, my skin became firmer, and my energy returned. I felt 20 years younger. I was so impressed that I started teaching the protocol to some close patients. The results were consistent. A 68-year-old man with type 2 diabetes stabilized his blood sugar and lost 12 kilos in 3 months. A 71-year-old woman with severe sarcopenia regained muscle strength and was able to walk again without a cane. Another 65-year-old patient improved his memory and cognitive function. But then I started to face pressure. Fellow doctors criticized me, saying I was going against medical consensus. The local medical association summoned me for clarifications. I received phone calls from pharmaceutical representatives asking if I wanted to collaborate in funded research, meaning take money to stop sharing the free protocol. That's when I decided to retire for good. And now, at 73 years old, finally free from the system's constraints, I can speak openly. I have nothing left to lose. I no longer depend on hospitals, clinics, or laboratories. And that's why I'm here today, revealing this protocol to you. The 3 pillars of the protocol are strategic intermittent fasting, which triggers natural GH secretion by keeping insulin levels low; high-intensity exercise adapted for the elderly, done in a fasted state in the morning, which multiplies GH secretion during and after the workout; and optimized deep sleep, because it is during the deepest phases of sleep that the highest GH peaks occur. Studies show that GH is secreted 10 to 20 minutes after the beginning of physical activity, reaches its peak at the end of the exercise, and remains elevated for up to 2 hours afterward. And the peak of fat burning during exercise coincides exactly with the GH peak. That's no coincidence. It's pure physiology. Intermittent fasting increases GH because insulin inhibits its secretion. When we're fasting, insulin levels drop and the body naturally starts producing more GH. And deep sleep is essential because it's during the first half of the night that the greatest GH release occurs. Now comes the most important part, the exact protocol that increases GH by 300%. But there's a critical detail that if you do it wrong, can cancel everything and even harm your health. Pay very close attention to what comes next. Now comes the moment of truth. The protocol that increased GH by 300% in 87 elderly participants at Stanford is not complicated. In fact, it's surprisingly simple. But like all simple things, the devil is in the details. If you do it wrong, it won't work. And worse, it could even harm your health. The protocol has 3 mandatory pillars that must be followed simultaneously. It's no use doing just 1 or 2. It's the combination of all 3 that creates the synergistic effect of explosive GH increase. Pillar 1, strategic intermittent fasting. The first pillar is intermittent fasting, but not just any fasting. It's a strategic 16-hour fast. following the 16.8 protocol. You'll have your last meal at 7 p.m. and won't eat again until 11 a.m. the next day. This creates a 16-hour fasting window and an 8-hour eating window. Why does this work? Because insulin is GH's greatest enemy. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates, your insulin levels rise. And when insulin rises, it completely blocks GH secretion. It's like a switch. High insulin, zero GH. During the 16-hour fast, insulin levels plummet, and it's precisely at that moment that the body begins to produce GH explosively. Studies show that intermittent fasting can increase GH levels by up to 500%, but pay attention. It must be exactly 16 hours. Less than that is not enough to lower insulin, and more than 20 hours becomes dangerous for older adults, potentially causing muscle catabolism and hypoglycemia. Fatal mistake of pillar 1. Many people try to speed up the process by fasting for 24, 36, or even 48 hours. That's a serious mistake. In older adults, prolonged fasting can cause muscle loss, dizziness, extreme weakness, and even fainting. The ideal range for those over 60 is always between 16 and 18 hours, maximum. Pillar 2. High-intensity fasted exercise. The second pillar is exercising while fasting in the morning, between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. But it's not just any workout. It's HIIT, high-intensity interval training, adapted for older adults. And here's the secret. It must be done while fasting. Why does it work? Because when you exercise while fasting, with low glucose stores, the body is forced to burn fat as fuel. And to mobilize that fat, the body produces massive amounts of GH. It's as if GH were the key that unlocks fat reserves to be used as energy. The exact protocol is 5 minutes of light warm-up, then 15 minutes of intervals. You alternate between 30 seconds of intense effort and 90 seconds of active recovery. For older adults, intense effort can mean brisk walking, climbing stairs, body weight exercises, or even dancing. The key is to push yourself to 80 and 90% of your capacity for 30 seconds, then rest for 90 seconds. Studies show that GH is secreted 10 to 20 minutes after the start of exercise, peaks at the end, and remains elevated for up to 2 hours afterward. And when done while fasting, GH secretion can be up to 300% higher. Fatal mistake of pillar 2. The most common mistake is exercising after eating. If you've eaten within the past 3 hours, your body is still processing glucose, insulin is still high, and this completely cancels GH release. Another serious mistake is overexertion. Older adults who push too hard can suffer heart problems, injuries, or even strokes. Intensity should be high, but controlled. Pillar 3. Optimize deep sleep. The third pillar is deep sleep. Not just any sleep, sleep optimized to maximize GH secretion. Because 70% of all GH your body produces in 24 hours is released during deep sleep, and most of that happens during the first half of the night. The protocol is strict. Go to bed between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. and wake up naturally between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. The room must be completely dark, no light at all. The temperature should be mild, between 18 and 22 degrees Celsius. No screens, TV, phone, tablet, for at least 1 hour before bed. The science behind this is simple. GH is released in pulses during deep sleep, especially during REM phases. If you go to bed late, lose sleep hours, or have fragmented sleep, you simply won't produce GH. It's like missing the train. If you don't catch it at the right time, it's gone. Fatal mistake of pillar 3, going to bed after midnight. The natural GH peak happens between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. If you go to bed at 2 a.m., you've already missed half the window of opportunity. Another common mistake is using electronic devices before sleeping. Blue light completely suppresses melatonin and disrupts deep sleep. Natural support, supplementation. To enhance the protocol, there are 2 inexpensive natural supplements that help. 400 mg of magnesium, taken 30 minutes before bedtime, improves deep sleep quality, and 30 mg of zinc, taken with lunch, supports GH synthesis. But attention, supplements are only supportive. Without the 3 main pillars, they don't perform miracles. Important contraindications. This protocol is not for everyone. Insulin-dependent diabetics cannot do intermittent fasting without strict medical supervision. People with a history of severe hypoglycemia also need special care. Pregnant women and people undergoing cancer treatment should avoid the protocol, and those with serious heart conditions must adapt the exercise intensity. Timing is everything. The sequence is essential. You have your last meal at 7 p.m., go to bed between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. First GH burst during deep sleep. Wake up between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., still fasting. Exercise between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Second GH burst. And only break your fast at 11 a.m. It's like a symphony. If you miss the timing, the music falls out of tune. Expected results. If you follow the protocol correctly, you can expect the first results in 2 to 3 weeks. Increased energy, better sleep quality, reduced fatigue. In 6 to 8 weeks, you'll notice loss of abdominal fat and gain of muscle mass. And in 12 weeks, blood tests will show a significant increase in GH levels. Now you hold in your hands the protocol that doctors have hidden for decades. But before you apply it, I need to give you one final warning. This is the final warning. Start slowly. Don't try to apply the full protocol on the first day. Begin with 12-hour fasts in the first week, then increase to 14, and finally to 16. For exercise, start with moderate intensity and gradually increase as your body adapts. Respect your limits. To recap, the 3 pillars are 16-hour intermittent fasting, last meal at 7 p.m., first meal at 11 a.m., high-intensity exercise adapted for older adults, and done while fasting between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., 15-20 minutes of HIIT with intervals, and optimize deep sleep. Go to bed between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. in a completely dark room. This combination can increase your GH levels by up to 3 units in 90 days, melting visceral fat, increasing muscle mass, improving bone density, and restoring vitality. But pay attention to the contraindications. Insulin-dependent diabetics, people with severe hypoglycemia, pregnant women, and those undergoing cancer treatment should consult a doctor first. And remember, always start gradually. If this video was helpful, like it, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to receive more content like this. And leave your results in the comments after 30 days of following the protocol. Share it with someone you love who needs this information. The secret was right in front of you all along. Now it's up to you.